We have an expression in the computer industry, and I know you've heard it. What you see is what you get. WYSIWYG. Now, in my opinion, it's just my opinion, that's not an accurate statement. There are too many variables going on. For example, on monitors, it's RGB color additive. Paper is CMYK subtractive. You can have a different calibrated system. You could be going out to the internet as opposed to print. Illustrator is set up primarily to go out to print. Doesn't mean we can't change it. I'm going to show you how you do that. But it's primarily set up that way. So a lot of people will come up to me and they'll say, well, you know, I did something in Illustrator and I was prepping it for the web, and so I saved it, you know, did all that stuff to it. But when I put it out on the web page and looked at it, the color set really did look different. Now, quality-wise, it looked good, but the colors really shifted more than I had anticipated. Well, it's because it's set up for subtractive color. And the other thing is, I'm looking at this kind of like fish tank on my monitor. Incidentally, that is a document, if you want to open it, in your working folder called fishy.ai. And I'm working on it, and I'm teaching this lesson. So I see these colors. But by the time it gets to you with your monitor, the range on your monitor, called the gamut, the calibration of your monitor, you might see something slightly different. We live with that, okay? That's part of our lives. But if I want to change things, let's look at a couple of ways we can change view. For example, if you do go up to the word view on the pull-down menu, you have something called outline. Let's look at that first. Now what outline does, and it has nothing to do with printing, but it shows you the actual outlines of the objects. So you can tell maybe their complexity, kind of what they're made of, outline. The shortcut is Command Y. That's Control Y in Windows and Command Y in a Mac, to kind of toggle back and forth from that. Another thing that we know about working in Adobe Illustrator is that objects are resolution independent. If we come up here, we have something called a pixel preview. Let me show you something. Let me zoom in on this guy right here. I used to have a bunch of these when I was growing up. And we are now at 150% in terms of view. Now watch him carefully when I go up to the word view and change to pixel preview. Notice how he changed? Well, the change is, what if I do need to rasterize this image? And we'll talk about how you do that later. But the idea is I made him in Illustrator as this beautiful vector, but I can't use him as vector. I got to JPEG him, I got to GIF him, do something like that, because I'm putting him onto a web page and I need it to be rasterized. Well, that's what he is going to look like at 200%. Now, if I double click on the zoom tool, well, he looks pretty good even at pixel preview. But that's a good one to know if you're moving into the world of rasterizing your images. Pixel preview. Let's go ahead and turn that one back off again. You have another one up here called overprint preview. Now, if you are doing a lot of things to 4-color press, that's a good one to remember because it gives you an idea of what it's going to look like when you get through those 4-color plates and you're printing things like gradients and that, and it will show you exactly what's going to happen when it goes out to press. This is more of a basic course on Illustrator, so we're not going to go there. But remember, you've got that one too. Now, the other one I want to show you down here is what's called Proof Setup. Now, in Proof Setup, we are on Working CMYK. Now, that's the default because, well, Illustrator is primarily set up for going out to press. But you will notice we have things like Legacy Macintosh, Internet Standard. So, tell you what. Take a look at those guys swimming over there on the left. And I'm going to say, okay, I'm taking these things out to Internet Standard. What's it going to do to my colors? Watch them over there. It's saying that's the color set for a monitor. But if I am going out to print, that's how they would look if they were sent out to print. There's more vibrancy on a monitor. RGB colors can produce more saturation to a color than a piece of paper can, so you saw how they shifted. If you come back up here again, you even have options for things like color blindness. So you have a lot of different ways. Again, begin with the end in mind. Think about where you're going and then work in a proof view that shows you what it's going to look like for the final product. It makes sense. Begin with the end in mind.